This gets edited out in post, right? Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Ink and Fig. It's Alex, and I'm back. It's been a while, as I mentioned in my last video. I've been kind of out on mental health related struggles, but we're back and we're gonna get back to it. So I haven't really been doing much while I've been gone except for trying to plan this wedding that I keep mentioning. And I think we're pretty much good to go. So I'm no longer panicking actively about that, to just sort of low-key anxiety until it eventually happens. So that's where I'm at right now. We today are doing the October TBR. I'm very excited about this because I've decided to make it a twofold challenge. Because of course I would. Like, knowing me, why not? So what I have done this month is we are still going to be playing Lunar TBR, as you've become accustomed to. I'm going to explain the rules to that game when we get to it a little later on in the video, but I'm going to explain the other half of my challenge before we get there. So the challenge is, I have got a stack behind the camera here of 8 books that in some fashion or another I have not read in 2022 when I was supposed to read them in 2022. So my challenge to myself for the last 3 months of the year here is to get all of these into my TBRs and finish them. And ultimately, I think the best way to go about this would be to get all of them into a single TBR, or like get 4 of them anyway into a single TBR for a month, and then get the next 4 into the next month, and just polish them all off. I think that would be great. We'll see if that's going to be feasible. I don't know, but we're going to find out. So let me show you what those books are before we get started. The first book, which I know one member of my audience, hi, is going to be very happy to see, is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I borrowed this from one of my best friends and audience members 3 years ago, before the pandemic started, and I haven't finished it yet. That is how far through I am. I'm gonna be honest, 3 years is kind of embarrassing, but I'm hoping to finish it before the 3-year mark of this loan comes to pass. And then ultimately I'd love to get to The Burning God in 2023, because I would love to finish this series. I do like this series. It's just, for whatever reason, I think the fantasy genre just isn't my thing, and I think that's what's been kind of stopping me up on this one. So hopefully we're gonna get this read before the end of the year, because one of you is going to come for me if I don't. All right, so before I started this channel, on my January TBR, I read 3 out of the 4 books that I set for myself. The one book that I did not finish was The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. I read the other 2 books in this series, and they are honestly fantastic. I love the storytelling style. It's a lovely mix between that showing and not telling style that I like, and still having sort of a folkloric fairy tale kind of feel to it. And this one, I think, is the shortest one in the series, so we just didn't get to it, but I'm hoping to get to it, and honestly, I am going to see if I can sort of finagle this into the December TBR out of all of them, because I feel like October, in any case, is not the vibe for this, but I do need to get this read by the end of the year. Well, I say need. February, I read all of my books, so we have nothing from there. From March, I have 2 books that I did not finish. The first one is kind of a controversial one, I understand, but I would still like to read it, mostly because of the controversy now, and I'd like to understand it. And also, it's just been a pretty popular book, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I understand what's problematic about this book, in that some stuff with the author's husband happened, some people were killed, and that inadvertently seems to have sparked how this book plays out. So I'm interested to see how art imitates life here, and to see sort of the other half of the drama that's going on, you know what I mean? My other book for March is a book that I have been struggling once again to finish for the last 3 years, and that is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. The show is better in a lot of ways, up to and I believe including the pacing. We're struggling through it. I am actually this far through. Like, I don't have a whole heck of a lot to go. And this is one of the books that I will let myself pick up where I left off, because I think it's going to help me get through it. April, I finished all of my books, so no problems there. So in May, I did not read one of my 4 books, and that was Norwegian Wood. But as we all know, I did polish off Norwegian Wood a different month, so that one's already finished. And in June, we all know that I neglected to finish one of the books on my TBR, and that was Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. I am starting to see more people on Instagram finish this, and I am jealous of the fact that they are finished because I would love to see where this goes. Like, the beginning scenes are just so intense. What ultimately clinched it for me in June that I was not going to finish it was there was some teeth stuff. It was not the vibe in June. My mental health was taking a major spiral at that point in time, and I think that that kind of physical trauma was triggering a lot of stuff in me because I have a lot of physical trauma from a disability that I have. And I think that was just a little bit too much at the time. Am I in the right headspace for this now? I'll never know until I keep reading it. So I'm going to continue from where I left off. Granted, that was only like exactly 30 pages. If I get it for October, we're gonna try to read it. And if I don't, we will try another month because I really do want to finish this. I think this is an excellent concept for a book. I think it's very cathartic given the current struggles that the trans community is facing. Like, this is a good one. It's just what got me out of the gate was the teeth stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. Coming out of July, I had one book that I was unable to finish, and I, again, felt really bad about this one, and that was The Yiddish Policeman's Union by Michael Chabon. This book is so good. I honestly love this. The only reason I stopped when I did is because July ran out and I had to do some other stuff for August for the Aurelium Readathon. Otherwise, I would have absolutely plowed ahead and tried to finish this because this book is great. The pacing is fantastic. I love the characters, flaws and all. I think they're great. And I'm interested to see where the different stories go because we've got a really good inner conflict with the main character. We've got excellent external conflict with the government that's going to disband this whole annex of Alaska that belongs to the Jews in this point in time. And also there's a murder mystery. So I mean, like, what is there in this book not to love, really? Now, due to the aforementioned mental health problems that I've been having in September, I have DNF'd one book, or I will have DNF'd one book by the end of the month because I know it's not going to happen by Friday. As much as I'm gonna try to get at least halfway through by Friday, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. And then I did not even start one of them. So the book I did not start is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. This one was absolutely bottom of the pile for me. I know what I'm expecting from this book, and it's not necessarily anything good. What I want to get out of this book is just to finish this series so that I can move on to King of Scars. That's really my only goal in reading this. And then the one I am gonna be DNFing for the time being, again, I want to say I am enjoying the ride. It's a different ride than I was expecting, but I am enjoying it nonetheless. The book is The Song of Achilles. I know, I'm sorry. I feel so bad about this, but I've just been having such a struggle this month that it took me 16 days to finish Accept the Dying, which I think was like under 300 pages. The brain's not doing the thing, you know what I mean? So I am sitting at 76 pages. I'm gonna keep pushing. We're gonna get through it. This is still happening, I promise. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, we're going to get into October's Lunar TBR. If you have not seen Lunar TBR before, basically I have created this game that is loosely based on Trivial Pursuit, except it uses the phases of the moon as the spaces on the board. I roll a die and move myself around the board to figure out which books I'm going to be reading. Whenever I land on a space, I draw a tarot card, and those cards correspond to prompts that I have already drafted in a Word document somewhere. and those prompts decide what I'm reading. Every month I get to choose how many books that I am reading. There's no punishments, there's none of that. My goal with this game is to be able to read a sustainable number of books every month and to have it be malleable to help me manage my mental health as it sort of comes and goes. To put it quite simply, punishments are a huge deterrent for me, so if I put punishments in this game, I would stop playing. So instead, what I have given myself is a reward. So every month that I finish all 4 of my books, I get the ability to do a redraw. I can bank those for the entire lunar cycle until I've filled in all of my moon phases. Those redraws will help me out if I ever come up against a card that I simply cannot find a book for. I have 2 of those banked right now for April and August, and I'm hoping that I don't have to use them, but also considering the constraints of my book pool, I may well have to use those redraws this month or next month. Both, we'll see. So here's hoping. Let's get into it and see what I'm reading this month. All right, so I'm trying a little bit of a different angle this month, so please bear with me. We're going to do the first roll. I'm starting up here, and I've got 2 moons left that I need to color in. So I rolled a 2. That takes me very, very close to this moon here. All right, so this month I'm going to be using the Ophidia Rosa deck, which is my favorite deck. And I'm hoping that it's going to be kind to me this month and let me choose the books that I need to choose. One more, oh God. All right. This is our first card. This is the 7 of Wands. My neighbor's dog is at present losing his mind, so if you can hear him, I apologize. So I went and checked what the 7 of Wands is, and you're never going to believe this. Read a book with a red cover. We're off to a banging start, so I'm going to be throwing Ruin and Rising in here for the 7 of Wands, which means I'm going to swap out the last card that I had on here. The last time we got 10 of Wands. Now I have the 7 of Wands, so we're going to pop that in here. And yeah, so this is going to be my first book for October. All right, let's see if we can keep the good vibes going with roll number 2. We got 5. Okay, that isn't great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know this is a little bit hard to see. This color didn't necessarily show up the best this month, but that is what we're working with today. Card number 2. I feel like you can actually see me shuffling this month, which is kind of a novelty. Let's choose this one. What do we have? Justice. This is going very well. Justice is pick a book with a sword or scales on the cover. Guess which one this fits. Oh, gee, look who's holding a sword. Geralt of Rivia is holding a sword on the cover of The Last Wish. So, I guess I'm reading The Last Wish in October also. Alright, the vibes are thus far immaculate. Let's move on to roll number 3. We got 6. That's gonna take us... Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6! Yes! Moon time! Alright, card number 3 for our moon. I am excited about this. Let's do this. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is read a book by a Middle Eastern author. I've been looking very much forward to this card. However, for the purposes of my secondary challenge, I don't think this passes the vibe check. My question now is, do I redraw? How about I redraw and then I choose between the 2 cards? Yes. Because these are supposed to be gifts, and gifts don't come with caveats. Yes, that's how we're going to do this. All right, we're going to roll. I'm going to grab a second one, and if they are both equally unhelpful to my cause, then I will go with the one that I already drew, because I would like to read a book by a Middle Eastern author. It's just that it doesn't quite fit in with the stack. All right, what's this one? This looks like The King of Wands. Why are there so many wands? Not that redraw working for me. The King of Wands is read a book with a trans or non-binary lead. Guess what horror book we're reading in October? We're going to be reading Manhunt. So far, the two main characters that we've come up with are trans. They're all I've met in the first 30 pages. Everyone else has been TERFs. So I'm very excited about this. We're reading it in October, which is also great. This is probably going to be my one and only sort of Halloween horror-esque thing that I'm going to be doing this month, because I'm just going to be doing so much wedding stuff. This is going to be a really good break from that. And in case you were curious, the prompt I had for this last time was the Queen of Wands. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cross off that April redraw because we just used it, so I still have August left for me if I need it. So that one's going to be for a moon. We're going to read Manhunt, and now I have got one last roll, and that's going to be a 4. I'm sort of equidistant at this point. I haven't swung around the bottom in a while, so I might as well just go that way. That's going to take me 1, 2, 3, and 4. Roll 4 is a moon that I have already gotten, so that is just another space. All right, so far we are absolutely jamming through this TBR. I am so excited to be reading 3 of the 8 books that I have on my list. I noticed that Dragon Republic hasn't made it in here yet, but we're going to see. All right, this one. The Chariot. We just got this a while ago. I don't know what's going on, but my manifestation energy this month is powerful. The Chariot is read a book with over 400 pages. Which of these books has significantly more than 400 pages? The Dragon Republic. My friend, this one's for you. The Chariot, the Dragon Republic. We are getting this thing read. We are getting this thing finished. As with Manhunt and The Last Wish, I am going to allow myself on all of these to pick up where I left off. I'm one of those readers that can jump immediately right back into the story where I left off. I don't need to refresh or anything, and if I do, I can just sort of like skim through, but I'm, especially with the Dragon Republic, I'm pretty sure I remember exactly where I left off, and I know what's going on, so we're good to go. I cannot believe how this turned out. I'm stunned. So in rather a bombshell moment, I have managed to set myself a TBR that contains 4 of the books from my Let's Catch Up on All the Things I Didn't Read This Year challenge. This is my TBR for October. It features 3 books that I have started but not finished, and 1 book that I have not even started yet, but that should go pretty quick. We have got The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, which I am 2/3 of the way through. I have got Ruin and Rising, which I have not yet started. Manhunt, which I have barely started, and The Dragon Republic, through which I am about 1/4 of the way. I'm excited about this, honestly. Like, there's some really good reads in here. There's gonna be a lot of feelings at the end of this month in terms of finally finishing The Dragon Republic, hopefully. Everything that's going to happen in Manhunt, which is going to be very emotional. Finally finishing The Last Wish. And then Ruin and Rising is finally going to finish off that series so I can get into King of Scars. I can get back to my girl Nina. I can see that story play out, and I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think that was a very fun TBR. I can't believe that I got exactly half of the books that I'm hoping to finish by the end of the year into this TBR. And then obviously, if I finish these other 4 books, I will just dive into these because I can. However, on account of, once again, the wedding thing, that might not happen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for sticking around while I took a little bit of a leave there just for myself. I really, genuinely appreciate it very much, and I'm so happy that you've decided to stick around. Go ahead and follow me on all of my social media at Ink and Fig. You can find me basically everywhere with that handle. And that is it for now. Stick around if you haven't yet. Like and subscribe to this channel so that you can see my next videos that are going to be coming up. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.